A globe is a three-dimensional, spherical, scale model of Earth or other celestial body such as a planet or moon. While models can be made of objects with arbitrary or irregular shapes, the term globe is used only for models of objects that are approximately spherical. The word globe comes from the Latin word globus, meaning round mass or sphere. Some terrestrial globes include relief to show mountains and other features on the Earth's surface. There are also globes, called celestial globes or astronomical globes, which are spherical representations of the celestial sphere, showing the apparent positions of the stars and constellations in the sky. Terrestrial and planetary flat maps are created using a map projection that inevitably introduces an increasing amount of distortion the larger the area that the map shows. A globe is the only representation of the Earth that does not distort either the shape or the size of large features, land masses, bodies of water, etc. The circumference of the Earth is almost exactly 40 million meters. Many globes are made with a circumference of 1 meter, so they are scale models of the Earth with a scale of 1 to 40 million. A distance of 1 centimeter on the globe represents 400 kilometers on the Earth. 1 inch represents about 630 miles. Some globes are made with a diameter of 1 foot. These are about 4% smaller than the meter circumference globes, so their scales are correspondingly different. 1 centimeter on a foot diameter globe represents an approximately 4% larger distance on the Earth than does the same distance on the meter circumference globe. Globes of various other sizes are also sometimes found. Sometimes a globe has surface texture showing topography. In these, elevations are exaggerated, otherwise they would be hardly visible. Most modern globes are also imprinted with parallels and meridians, so that one can tell the approximate coordinates of a specific place. Globes may also show the boundaries of countries and the names, a feature that can quickly become out of date, as countries change their name or borders. Many terrestrial globes have one celestial feature marked on them, a diagram called the analemma, which shows the apparent motion of the Sun in the sky during a year. Celestial globes show the apparent positions of the stars in the sky. They emit the Sun, Moon and planets because the positions of these bodies vary relative to those of the stars, but the ecliptic, along which the Sun moves, is indicated. There is an issue regarding the handedness of celestial globes. If the globe is constructed so that the stars are in the positions they actually occupy on the imaginary celestial sphere, then the star field will appear back to front on the surface of the globe. This is because the view from Earth, positioned at the center of the celestial sphere, is of the inside of the celestial sphere, whereas the celestial globe is viewed from the outside. For this reason, celestial globes are often produced in mirror image, so that at least the constellations appear the right way round. Some modern celestial globes address this problem by making the surface of the globe transparent. The stars can then be placed in the proper positions and viewed through the globe, so that the view is of the inside of the celestial sphere. However, the proper position from which to view the sphere would be from its center, but the viewer of a transparent globe must be outside it, far from its center. Viewing the inside of the sphere from the outside, through its transparent surface, produces serious distortions. Opaque celestial globes that are made with the constellations correctly placed, so they appear as mirror images when directly viewed from outside the globe, are often viewed in a mirror, so the constellations have their familiar appearances. Written material on the globe, names of constellations etc., is printed in reverse, so it can easily be read in the mirror. History. The sphericity of the Earth was established by Greek astronomy in the 3rd century BC, and the earliest terrestrial globe appeared from that period. The earliest known example is the one constructed by Crates of Malus in Cilicia, in the mid-2nd century BC. No terrestrial globes from antiquity or the Middle Ages have survived. An example of a surviving celestial globe is part of a Hellenistic sculpture, called the Farnese Atlas. surviving in a 2nd century AD Roman copy in the Naples Archaeological Museum, Italy. Early terrestrial globes depicting the entirety of the Old World were constructed in the Islamic world. According to David Woodward, one such example was the terrestrial globe introduced to Beijing by the Persian astronomers Jamal ad-Din in 1267. The earliest extant terrestrial globe was made in 1492 by Martin Beheim with help from the painter Georg Glockenden. Beheim was a German map maker, navigator, and merchant. Working in Nuremberg, Germany, he called his globe the Nuremberg terrestrial globe. It is now known as the Erdapfel. Before constructing the globe, Beheim had traveled extensively. He sojourned in Lisbon from 1480, developing commercial interests and mingling with explorers and scientists. In 1485 to 1486, he sailed with Portuguese explorer Diogo Cao to the coast of West Africa. He began to construct his globe after his return to Nuremberg in 1490. Another early globe, the Hunt-Lenox globe, California, 1510, is thought to be the source of the phrase "Hic sunt dracones," or "Here be dragons." A similar grapefruit-sized globe made from 2 halves of an ostrich egg was found in 2012 and is believed to date from 1504. It may be the oldest globe to show the New World. Stefan Misson, who analyzed the globe for the Washington Map Society journal Porcelain, said it was part of an important European collection for decades, after a year of research in which he consulted many experts. Misson concluded the Hunt-Lenox globe was a copycast of the egg globe. A facsimile globe showing America was made by Martin Waldseemüller in 1507. Another, remarkably modern-looking, terrestrial globe of the Earth was constructed by Taqi al-Din at the Istanbul Observatory of Taqi al-Din during the 1570s. The world's first seamless celestial globe was built by Mughal scientists under the patronage of Jahangir. Globus Imp. Electromechanical devices including 5-inch globes have been used in Soviet and Russian spacecraft from 1961 to 2002 as navigation instruments. In 2001, the TMA version of the Soyuz spacecraft replaced this instrument with a virtual globe. In the 1800s, small pocket globes were status symbols for gentlemen and educational toys for rich children. Manufacture. Traditionally, globes were manufactured by gluing a printed paper map onto a sphere, often made from wood. The most common type has long, thin gauze of paper that narrow to a point at the poles. Small discs cover over the inevitable irregularities at these points. The more gauze there, the less stretching and crumpling is required to make the paper map fit the sphere. From a geometric point of view, all points on a sphere are equivalent. One could select any arbitrary point on the Earth and create a paper map that covers the Earth with strips that come together at that point and the antipodal point. Modern globes are often made from thermoplastic. Flat, plastic discs are printed with a distorted map of one of the Earth's hemispheres. This is placed in a machine which molds the disc into a hemispherical shape. The hemisphere is united with its opposite counterpart to form a complete globe. A globe is usually mounted at a 23.5 degrees angle on a meridian. In addition to making it easy to use, this mounting also represents the angle of the planet in relation to its sun and the spin of the planet. This makes it easy to visualize how days and seasons change. Notable examples: the Unisphere in Flushing Meadows, New York, at the Billie Jean King USTA Tennis Center, at 120 feet in diameter, is the world's largest geographical globe. Eartha, currently the world's largest rotating globe, at the Delorme headquarters in Yarmouth, Maine. The Maparium, 3-story, stained glass globe at the Mary Baker Eddy Library in Boston, which visitors walk through via a 30-foot glass bridge. The Babson Globe in Wellesley, Massachusetts, a 26-foot diameter globe which originally rotated on its axis and on its base to simulate day and night and the seasons. The giant globe in the lobby of the News Building in New York City. The Hitler Globe, also known as the Führer Globe, was formerly named the Columbus Globe for state and industry leaders. Two editions existed during Hitler's lifetime, created during the mid-1930s on his orders. These globes were enormous and very costly. According to the New York Times, the real Columbus Globe was nearly the size of a Volkswagen and, at the time, more expensive. Several still exist, including 3 in Berlin, one at a Geographical Institute, one at the Marxisches Museum, and another at the Deutsches Historisches Museum. The latter has a Soviet bullet hole through Germany. One of the 2 in public collections in Munich has an American bullet hole through Germany. There are several in private hands inside and out of Germany. A much smaller version of Hitler's globe was mocked by Charlie Chaplin in The Great Dictator, a film released in 1940. Gallery. 19th-century projections of the terrestrial globe, from the UBC Library Digital Collections. Martin Beheim with his Erdapfel. Top view of 1765 Delisle globe. The Unisphere, attributed to Yuri Baruchin. 1594, mechanized celestial globe. A Globosimp navigation instrument from a Voskhod spacecraft. Earther, the largest rotating globe in the world. A map of Mars that circulated commercially in the 19th century. It is an example of how maps are printed in order to be folded around a sphere to form a globe. Multi-touch spherical globe with digital Earth based on multi-touch software. Globe as seen from space. Naturalized Biodiversity Center, Leiden.